Chelsea won, Arsenal won in the Premier League. Enzo Maresca took on Mikel Arteta. They used to be Pep Guardiola's number two, but now they take charge of their respective football clubs. And I tell you what, before we get into the analytics of this, you've seen the thumbnail. Can we just say what an absolute clown Kai Havertz is, celebrating against Chelsea, thinking that he scored a goal. It was written in the stars for this man to score and then this goal to be disallowed. I said to myself in the stadium, no, this can't happen. But it did. And listen, I think it's a point that's a respectable point, isn't it? But listen, big up to everyone that's watching from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're doing well. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As always, we're going to be breaking down. This is the morning after Chelsea won, Arsenal won in the Premier League. We're going to be breaking down substitutions, in-game management, the starting 11, as well as breaking down everything regarding Chelsea at the moment. So let's get straight into it, guys. I want to talk about, I want to talk about Kai Havertz. I mean, that's what the thumbnail is. So I'm just going to quickly introduce you to a video that is, I don't want to say close to my heart, but I think it's funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to share my screen with you straight away, guys. And let's see what I'm actually talking about, because I think this is good fun. This is quite funny. In the description, check it out, and I'll see you on there very soon. Hang on. Yeah, hang on. Talk to me about this masterpiece, Shark. I mean, I've seen the Mona Lisa. I know great artists, Picasso, Monet. This is beautiful. I mean, what is that?
How this fucking wanker celebrates against the team who made him a football fucking player. You fucking wanker, Kai Havertz. We are the team who made you fucking football, and you didn't deserve it. You didn't deserve it. And now, do you think that you could shish Chelsea fans? You could shish the Chelsea fans, the fans who made you a football player, the fans who made you live in London, the fans who made you live in London, the fans who made you play in the Premier League side, and you didn't deserve it. You didn't deserve it, you wanker. Waka, 60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz cries again.
You can see the tears.
Yeah, you can see the tears.
Zoom in on the tears.
You can see the tears, Kai. You can see the tears. You can see the tears. You will always cry against Chelsea. You will always cry. And listen, we are above of the Arsenal in the Premier League at the moment. We are above of you.
There you have it. Shaggy, the man himself, he decided to bring that poster, and it was very relevant in the end, because Havertz obviously scored that goal. I thought, oh my God, we haven't just conceded against this guy. But it wasn't to be, and everything happens for a reason. I think it was destiny for Havertz to score and then nothing to come from it. So that was a beautiful moment, to be honest with you. But listen, I mean, we didn't win the game. I'm not going to sit here and laugh at Arsenal, but also let's get the reality of this title race, this challenge that Arsenal are trying to bring. They are not challenging for the title. This was actually a top four race. So actually we dropped points in the sense that we're competing against Arsenal for top four. That's how I feel about it. So yeah, I mean, what do you think in the comments, guys? We'll come to the comments as we go. I mean, how do you feel regarding everything at the moment? I mean, are you happy with the point? Do you think that we should have lost that game? Do you think that we, where do you stand on it? So I'd be interested to know what you think about this result, guys. So do let me know. We're also going to be going through some of the comments after the game. So let's just dive straight into that. I want to give a big shout out to the official man of the match, Cucurella. What a guy. Official man of the match. Listen, for me, This is a guy who is worth every penny at the moment, and I do think that, and I completely agree with you. And I completely agree. It was a top 4 game. It wasn't a title race, of course not. It was 100% a top 4 game. Yeah. So yeah, but Cucurella for me it's just he hasn't put a foot wrong this season. He hasn't been bad in any games. I don't look at Cucurella and go, well, that mistake led to a goal and we lost because of that and we conceded because of him. I never ever look at Cucurella in that way. And you could even say there's 1 or 2 games where Caicedo gives the ball away. I think it happened against Wolves. It happened against Crystal Palace, maybe. So there's been 1 or 2 moments where, we conceded goals, even our best players. We talk about Caicedo, we compare him to Kante, and that's becoming a genuine comparison now. But this man, Cucurella, I don't think he ever really puts a foot wrong. Even when we lost away at Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, I thought Cucurella was actually all right. And that says a lot when you've got a team that isn't performing in certain games, and then you've got a player like Cucurella who still stands out defensively when we've been so poor in that area. I think that he deserves a lot of credit for that. He cooked Saka, absolutely. Shout out to Zeem from Malaysia. I don't know. What time is it in Malaysia at the moment? What time is it out there? Cameron, we'll take the point. We won't be taking a singer at half time again, though we will be smuggling a few cans in next time. Hey, it's got to be done. It's got to be done. How much was the singer? £6, £7? Expensive pints in London, guys. They're not cheap. I'll be honest. They're not cheap at all. Right. Let's just go with. Let's see what people said after this game. Obviously, we ended yesterday in the top 3 places of the Premier League table for the first time since the final day of the 21-22 season, when we finished in 3rd position behind Manchester City and Liverpool. I think we can remember we had Super Tommy Tuchel as our manager at that point. But now, looking at the table, it's a little bit different to what it was back then. But we are up in similar territory to what Chelsea fans would always hope we can be. And hopefully we can push on even further in the coming months. I mean, wouldn't that be great? So we've got Liverpool up top. They're just on fire, aren't they? They've got 28 points. Man City, 23 points. Only 4 points in front of us. Then we are equal with Arsenal, but we've got a better goal difference than them. 8 goal difference to their 6. Nottingham Forest as well, same tally. Brighton with the same tally. It's crazy, isn't it? Fulham, it's very tight after 11 games. There's not actually a huge gap. I mean, if we're looking at the race for top 4 at the moment, really, you'd say it's between Chelsea, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, Fulham, Newcastle, and Aston Villa. The way Tottenham are playing at the moment, the fact that they can't string together results against a lot of teams, I don't know if they're in that race. I think they'll be looking more around the Europa League spots and the Conference League as well. So I think that's what they'll be doing. I certainly wouldn't put Brentford in that bracket. Yeah, so as it stands, we are comfortably in the top 4, but things could get very uncomfortable very quickly if we don't address some of the problems that we have within this team regarding the goalkeeping situation, defensively. There's also an argument about an extra body up top, especially with Nkunku. We are going to talk about that as well. And maybe there's another area that you guys believe that we could reinforce as well in this squad. I even think, there's plenty to talk about. I mean, a lot of people said after this game, oh, it was rubbish. nothing happened. Guys, there's always something happening. There's always something happening. You just have to know where to look. It's like anything. And we are going to be looking in depth, people. We are going to be looking in depth. Let's go through some of the comments that were said after the match. Pedro Neto, he said, we wanted to win, but we knew we had hard work in front of us because they are a good team. We came to win, so we're not as happy as we wanted to be, but we didn't want to lose, and it's a good point against a good team. I think that's fair, isn't it? It was a good point against a good team. He said, I'm really happy to help the team. This is a group that works really hard each day. I work every day to improve. I'm trying to improve and go to my best level. And I think that Pedro Neto is certainly game by game improving. He got the goal that kept us in this match. Potentially could have pushed all the way to 3 points if we'd taken other chances. I know Gusto had a good chance as well. Madueke on top of that. But yeah, I think it's a fair point. I don't sit here and feel like we missed out on 3 points because of a refereeing decision. Although Matt said to me after the game, he said, what is wrong with these referees? I think Michael Oliver's probably the best of a bad bunch. So, and he had quite a poor game as well. But to be honest, I think we've seen far worse. I think we have seen far, far worse. Cucurella, after the game, said, it was a tough game. They've played together with the same ideas for a long time, but we played well. We need to keep going in this way. We are doing well. We need to stay in this way and push more. Enzo Maresca said, I enjoyed it. Absolutely. The performance was good. We know them quite well and we competed pretty well. The performance is very important for us in this moment and it was good. We can rest now and go again. So Enzo Maresca's happy with the performance. He thinks it was good. I did see him on the sideline applauding quite a lot, especially moments where fans were quite tense in the stadium. And, people were going, pass forward, or be faster. But Enzo Maresca didn't have a problem with the slow build-up. I personally didn't have a problem either. I thought it was quite intelligent. To be quite frank, sometimes in these games, you've just got to be... It's like a game of chess, isn't it? And in these games of chess, it's the small things that make a big difference. And if you do something very big, i.e. if you press right from the get-go, there's lots of space in behind. A team like Arsenal that are slightly more defensive in terms of their style of play, they'll pick you apart because they only need one chance. And they only needed one. That's how they scored their goal. It was from a mistake. So I don't think that the way we set up was that bad. But we are going to talk about Enzo Maresca as well, regarding his substitutes, regarding his starting 11. Enzo Maresca, when asked about Pedro Neto, he said the performance from Pedro Neto was very good. All of them complete. We played in the way we wanted to, brave, and tried to play from the back always. When asked about Moises Caicedo, he said he has been a top professional ever since I have arrived, and he's playing fantastic. Guys, do we think that these comparisons between Moises Caicedo and Kante, do we think they're fair comparisons, or am I talking rubbish when I say that? Because I've said it a few times now, and the reason I put it out there is not because I want to say that Caicedo is better than Kante, but there are a lot of similarities between the two players. A lot of similarities. I'd say that Caicedo is probably a more aggressive midfielder in terms of going up the pitch, but in a deeper role, Kante is certainly much, much better. But that versatility that we have with Caicedo and what he's able to do is undroppable. And that's why the substitution will always be Lavia for Enzo Fernandez, not Caicedo for Enzo Fernandez. And yeah, it's I think he's absolutely fantastic. And what a goal he scored in Manchester, guys. If you haven't seen that goal, watch it. It's on the vlog as well. That was a great goal. Enzo Maresca said, it is the way we want to do things. We try to play face-to-face against every team. We are Chelsea, so it is important to send this message. There are managers who have been clubs for 5 and 9 years, so we are behind them. So he's talking about Arteta and Pep Guardiola. We've got plenty of catching up to do, and he's impressed with the way we've been playing. Obviously, playing out from the back, not necessarily pressing as high as we have in the past, but still looking to try and play. But it was more tentative. I think we can all agree the performance wasn't as impactful. Defensively, Enzo Maresca said we were very good, apart from the goal we conceded, but the rest we were good. Mikel Arteta, after the match, said, Chelsea destroy every team that comes here in every way, but I thought we were superb. We were very unlucky. We have dominated one of the best teams in Europe, but we don't get the results. This is what is missing. Not sure about that, Arteta. I think he's talking rubbish there. We don't destroy every team that comes there, because we didn't destroy Crystal Palace. We didn't destroy Man City. We didn't destroy Nottingham Forest. So I think he's talking a little bit of rubbish there, because the man is under pressure. He is under pressure. Mikel Arteta is under pressure. And I tell you what, if that man gets sacked, happy days. Arsenal, trust the process. How many trophies did you win? You won what? A Community Shield, FA Cup. Is that it? Is that it? And that was all when things were rubbish. Now you're playing well and you've won nothing. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Trust the process, boys. Daniel says we are on 23 likes, but we've got our 218 people in the building, 75 on YouTube, 144 on X. Guys, smash the like button. Can we get up to 50 likes on YouTube? Can we get up to 50 likes? We're only on 23 at the moment. Big up to everyone that's watching. I am going to be going through the chat more often, but I just want to get through everything that's been said, and then we can go player by player, and I want to hear your thoughts as well. Smash that like button. It makes a massive difference. It shows that you're enjoying the content, and it's just a bit of encouragement, isn't it? Enzo Maresca also said we can compete no matter what the competition, despite the fact there are clubs like Arsenal that have had the same manager for 5 years. We are behind, but this doesn't mean we aren't going to compete. We are Chelsea. Absolutely fantastic. Yes, we are Chelsea. That's a great comment from Enzo Maresca. And you know what? While we are here, I do also want to give Enzo Maresca some credit. And this is something that Pochettino was criticized for quite a bit, actually, when he was Chelsea manager. Plenty of criticism from Pochettino, from the fans to Pochettino, because of a lack of this. And this is what Enzo Maresca deserves another praise for. When was the last time? Well, we never saw Poch do that. And I think that a lot of people had a problem with the fact that he didn't try and connect with the fans. It's not hard. It's not hard to just have a little clap at the end of the game. Just show the fans that you appreciate them. Show them. They pay a lot of money. Season ticket prices went up last season. A lot of people are struggling. I personally find it quite difficult to get the money together for my season tickets. I have two. You've got to appreciate fans that are spending their hard-earned money to come and watch these games and support the team through thick and thin. So yeah, I mean, big up to Enzo Maresca for that. I think that's fantastic, and I'm glad that he came over, even after a draw. Sometimes with other managers, especially Tuchel, nobody wants to talk about it. Tuchel didn't clap the fans every week. He didn't do it. He clapped the fans after a big win. something like that. But, you know, it wasn't much. You know, Tuchel would walk off a lot. But he kept winning, so nobody talked about it. So I'm glad to see Enzo Maresca embracing the Chelsea fans. And, you know, a little bit of connection there as well. Something here which is, I don't know if you want to call it concerning, a little bit strange. Manchester United have inquired about Christopher Nkunku, who had no intention of joining Chelsea last year to feature in Europe's third best competition and play second fiddle in the Premier League. So it'd be interesting to see if anything does change with Nkunku's situation. I do think that he deserves more minutes. I think that I actually thought it was quite disrespectful when he came on after 87 minutes. That should have happened much earlier. I would have brought him on after 60, around that period. Jackson didn't have a good game. This is the second game in the Premier League that Jackson hasn't really contributed. I'll be totally honest with you. I think Jackson was poor again. He had a poor game against United. He had a poor game against Arsenal. Part of that could have been because of Cole Palmer's positioning and, you know, the fact that he's deeper. He's on the left side. He's not on the right. He's not as close to Jackson as he normally would be. But I do think that is something to think about. And also, you know, when you've got a player like Nkunku who can absolutely contribute in, you know, these games when he does feature, I think that's something that can't be underrated, because not everyone can do what Nkunku can do. So yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what happens from there. Now let's compare, before we go on, let's just compare this player, Kai Havertz, with Nicholas Jackson. So Kai Havertz has 1,400 minutes in all competitions, 7 goals, 1 assist in 17 games. Then you've got Nicholas Jackson. We paid half the price that we sold Havertz for, so we made profit on that essentially. 12 games, 6 goals, 3 assists in only 901 minutes. My striker, Nicholas Jackson, didn't have a great game yesterday, but I tell you this, he is better than Kai Havertz ever will be. And for that reason, I'm very happy that Havertz is an Arsenal player, not a Chelsea player. But without further ado, we are going to be getting into the player ratings. We're going to get in there. We're going to talk player by player and see what happens. Let's start off with this man, a man that everybody's been criticizing, Robert Sanchez. What do we think about Robert Sanchez, guys? Are you happy with what you've seen from him? Do you think he's performed, or you know, what's your stance on it? Personally, I think that Robert Sanchez is just a liability at this point. And you know, he made some good saves within the game, but that's not the point. The point is that for every good thing he does a bad thing as well. So he just cancels himself out. I mean, if you look at the SofaScore ratings, his SofaScore ratings recently have been pretty poor. And look, I'm not saying that you should judge everything on stats, but some people have good stats and some people have bad stats. And I think it's worth paying attention to. I mean, he had a very good game against Nottingham Forest with 8.5, pretty average against Liverpool, average again. And yeah, that's probably his worst rating so far within what we're looking at the moment. So not really a lot of good things to say about Robert Sanchez. I mean, how do you talk about this team and say we can ever compete for something with this goalkeeper? I don't think it's possible, to be totally honest with you. I don't think it's possible. I think ultimately Robert Sanchez is just, something is missing within this guy. I don't know why it is. Maybe he overthinks. Maybe he's just not good enough. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know. Concern says he thinks Sanchez had 3 out of 16 accurate long passes. Well, if you go on Chelsea's website, you can actually see the passing. You can see the accuracy of the passing within the team, and if I'm not wrong, I can see that on here at the bottom. Pass success rate. Look, Sanchez is right at the bottom. Right at the bottom in terms of pass success rate. Pass completion rate in terms of his percentage. 97% of his short balls are accurate. But actually, that's quite a concerning stat, because then you think 3% of those that he misses, we end up generally conceding big chances from. So that's quite a serious problem, even 97%. I don't think Ederson's is 97. I reckon Ederson, Alisson, all these players, it's got to be 99 as a minimum. You know, you don't miss these short balls in teams like this. So yeah, that's concerning. So it looks like it's really good because the team average is 90, but you've got to remember that the goalkeeper's only got his centre-backs and his full-backs to worry about with those short balls, maybe even Caicedo or Lavia if they drop deeper. But the long ball percentage is really, really poor. 28%. And the team average is 44. That should be much, much higher. Really, really concerning. So I echo what you're saying there, Concern. I think that it is worrying. It's very worrying that we have a goalkeeper who just struggles to pass the ball, doesn't he? So yeah, I mean, crazy stuff. Yeah, so not a great performance from Robert Sanchez. I don't really have. I think that we've said everything that we need to say on the player. So it's not. I'm like a broken record here talking about Robert Sanchez. It's like, well, no, he's not been that great. So what do you want me to say? So we're going to move on. We're going to move on to the next player. Malo Gusto played on the right. Reece James was dropped for this game. I know a lot of people weren't happy about that. I personally didn't have a problem with it. I think that a big reason for not playing James isn't necessarily tactical. I think that it's just load management, just taking care of the player. So we can criticize these tactical decisions, but I think it's part of the reason that Lavia comes off and Reece James doesn't start in these games, and you know, other players is load management. In fact, I'm surprised that Pedro Neto's played as many 90-minute games as we have. I mean, I'm scared that he's going to get injured because he's another injury-prone player. Not to mention Fofana as well. So we have plenty of players with injury problems, and we need to take care of them. It's really important that we do that. So for that reason, that's why I think Gusto starts on the right. I think also you can see James is not equipped to being a left back. He's not a left back. I think the idea behind that was so he doesn't have to move as much and be as physical, but he can still ping those passes. But we lack balance on that side. And, you know, having Cucurella inverting. Well, actually, I don't even think it was it Cucurella? No, Gusto still inverts. What am I talking about? No, Gusto still inverts. But I don't know. I don't know why would we do that when we have Cucurella on the pitch as well. Is he just trying to keep teams guessing? Is he like, what's the strategy here? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Gusto had a great chance in that game as well. Yeah, he really, really should have done better with that chance that he had. But, you know, I don't know. I really don't know why. Oh, so they both inverted then? Yeah, because Gusto goes a lot further up the pitch. So I guess they kind of interchange at times. I think Gusto's just... You've got Cucurella who's sitting in that midfield a little bit more, and then Gusto's going further up the pitch. That's how he's getting himself into these goal-scoring positions. Sorry if you can hear a ambulance outside my house. I live right next to a road. So, yeah. It's similar as well with SofaScore. I mean, I don't want to keep pointing to these, statistics, but sometimes that's a great way of just seeing, right, is there anything that we can take from this? Because we know he had a poor game against United. They're saying he was better than United. I would agree with that. I think that Malo Gusto I think he's okay in that role. I don't understand why people say he's rubbish when he plays in that position. I think he was okay. I don't think it was bad. He should have scored. I think we can all agree on that. He's a player that I would class Gusto as just a very versatile player. I think he's a warrior. He certainly was a warrior last season under Poch. I felt like he was a player this team could rely on. I think we can still count on Gusto, but I do think that we need to facilitate a system that helps our players. And when you put Gusto further up the pitch, running into those spaces, who is he taking those spaces from? And then people ask the question, why is Cole Palmer playing further on the left? Why are we not seeing the best out on Madueke? And maybe a reason for that is that Gusto is constantly going up. Maybe that's part of the problem. So if you've got Gusto inverting, you take away from the left side. If you've got him going further up the pitch, you're taking away from our attackers. Why do you need two fullbacks to do such strange roles? I mean, we know that Cucurella is good at it, but it's not something we saw before Poch, really. But now there seems to be like this is the next big thing, isn't it? It went from wing backs, 3 at the back. That was revolutionary for us under Tuchel. Lampard did it as well at times. Into constantly inverting and just pushing our fullbacks into midfield. So, I mean, I can't say I'm a big fan of it, if I'm totally honest, because I think that it actually takes away from Palmer and other players, which is why they're playing sort of that deeper left side of midfield. Maresca said it in the last game against, God, who was that? Who did we play in the last game? When Palmer did that unbelievable pass, what game was that? I'm trying to think what it was now. I could find it. What game was that? Am I silly or something? Newcastle, right? Yeah, when we played Newcastle in the league and he did that unbelievable pass. That's great, but we haven't really seen an awful lot since then. So I'd argue that you want to play your best player in his best position. You don't do that with Messi, do you? When Messi's in his prime. You don't do it with Ronaldo if these guys are getting marked out of the game. And yes, there I said it. I just compared Cole Palmer to Lionel Messi and Ronaldo. Hold that. The real problem yesterday was leaving Martinelli completely free, then letting him have all the time in the world before he scored. Just a slight dip in form from Malo in the last few games. Better yesterday, though. Just don't see Maresca playing Reece James in that same role with the workload management. I couldn't agree more. I completely agree with that. Yeah, so I think it was all right for Malo Gusto. I think it's a bit harsh to sit here and say, the guy's rubbish, this and that. No, he wasn't rubbish. He wasn't rubbish. He was okay. But it's like Mudryk at times. Okay is not good enough. You need to do better than okay. We're not at that place anymore where it's 6th is acceptable and that's still a progression from 12th. Now we need to progress from 6th, which means you need to be more than just consistent. You need to be consistently good. So yeah, that's my stance on it. So we move on to the other side of, we move into the central part. We've got Wesley Fofana, a player who I personally wasn't a big fan of at the beginning of the season. But I don't think that Wesley Fofana really did anything wrong in this game. I didn't have any issues with him. I thought physically he competed well. I think that, defensively he had some really good moments in this game. I have nothing to complain about with Fofana. I think he held his head high and showed a good performance. I mean, that's what we asked. That's what we asked for from him. I mean, when we beat Noah 8-0, I said, Tosin, even with that game, I thought Tosin was rubbish. And same with Badiashile. Disassi's certainly not competing for that spot. So then I look to Fofana and I say, show me something. Please, can you just give me an idea of why I should support you playing in this team consistently? I know that you're not the player that I want to start for Chelsea for the rest of, God knows how long he's got left on his contract, 5 years, whatever it is. But, he's certainly good enough for Chelsea. The question is how often. And I think Fofana is a great squad player to have in the future. But for now, he is one of the best defenders that we have. So I want to see the man performing. I want to see him staying fit. If we end up having this conversation in December or January and Fofana's fit and Fofana's injured, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say, I told you so. Because you don't base your team around injury-prone players. And unfortunately, Chelsea have a lot of injury-prone players. Fofana being the biggest culprit. You've got Reece James as well. You've got Lavia in the midfield. You've got Pedro Neto up top. And Nkunku. Have I missed anyone? I probably have. But I'm just not a big fan of playing players who have never really proven consistently that they've been good enough at this level. And I'm obviously not criticizing James or Lavia or Nkunku, those type of players, because I think that we've seen some really good moments from them, like we have with Fofana at times, but just more consistently. So that's why I don't trust the guy, because I don't trust that he can stay fit, and I don't trust that when he comes back from injury, he's going to be consistent, because it's so difficult to do that. But no, I thought he had a good game, and I think that he deserves credit for his performance against Arsenal. No complaints from me about Wesley Fofana yesterday. His partner in there was Levi Colwill. So, I mean, he's another player who's been getting some flack, especially after the United game. People are questioning the quality of our defenders. I personally think Colwell's our best centre-back. I do think he is our best centre-back. And I've thought that pretty much ever since the beginning of the season, because Colwill just possesses, I don't know, he possesses something that, first of all, I love the fact that he's a loyal Chelsea boy and he'd never go anywhere. And people always go, oh, it's just because he's English. Yeah, all right, fine. But, we have to look at these performances and try and be objective as well. I think that Colwell's had a better season than Fofana. But I think Fofana probably had a better game than Colwill yesterday. I think Colwill, there was moments where, just switched off a little bit, especially with that goal that was called offside, Kai Havertz. I think that was on Colwell's side. So there's just moments where we switch off and I think to myself, come on, mate, wake up a little bit, please. But ultimately, he's still our best centre-back. He's better than Fofana. He's available. Better passer of the ball. He's aggressive. I think he's captain material. I've met Colwell at the training ground. He's just a lovely guy, the way he interacts with the fans. But no, I agree. I agree with you, Katsa. I don't think he was great yesterday. I think Fofana had a better game than Colwell. You know what I'd love to see from Colwell? I'd love to see more of a physical presence. Because although he's aggressive, I don't see a physical presence. There's not many challenges where I look at him and I think, come on, mate. When a defender slides in, or they win a header, or they really compete to win a 50-50 and they come out on top. I don't see enough of that from Colwell. And I think that's probably where Fofana edges it a little bit. But then on the ball, I'd say Colwell's better, even if it wasn't yesterday. So, yeah, we do need to see improvements from him. Another game where you could look at Colwell and say, well, come on, mate. We need you to step it up a little bit, please. And then we move on to the left side with Cucurella, the man, the myth. What a haircut. What a haircut. What a player. Man of the match yesterday. Just doesn't put a foot wrong, really. Does not put a foot wrong. Jacob said it yesterday on the fan cam, and there's certainly an argument to be had about this. Top 3 left backs in world football at the moment. Top 3. Who's ahead of Cucurella? Robertson? Question mark. Gvardiol. We've also got Alphonso Davis, among others. Do you think that Cucurella is better than all these players? Do you think he is? Do you think he's more reliable left back? In terms of inverting, I'd argue that there's nobody better than him, to be totally honest. But Gvardiol can play as a left back. I know he's not a left back, but he can. And he is pretty good when he does. I think that Cucurella is right up there in world football, to be honest with you. I think he is a player that has proven over this period that you can have dips and still bounce back and be better than ever. It's the ultimate comeback, because this guy came to Chelsea under Graham Potter. We had such high expectations. I remember watching him when he played for Brighton, and I went to the Amex. And I thought, wow, this guy's, it just stood out to me. Maybe it's because of the hair, but he was a good player as well. I thought, oh, he's pretty good. But yeah, I think Cucurella he's just fantastic. He's great. And I love everything that I'm seeing from this player. I think that he embodies everything that you want in your player and everything you wouldn't want to play against. He's like a little rat. He's a little pest. But he's that pest that you want on your team. He's in the referee's ear. He's encouraging his teammates. He's got a contagious energy. And I think ultimately players like Cucurella, when they're at their best, they make the players around them better. And I think that he certainly does that. Massive shout out to Cucurella. This is a player who is undroppable in this back line. If I see Reece James playing as a left back again, I mean, what the hell? I will never understand the logic of dropping Cucurella for Reece James as a left back. Reece James is arguably at his best when he's fully fit. He is the best right back in the world. Those Real Madrid links aren't, people aren't just making graphic designs. They're real links. If it wasn't for his injury record, they would have already put in a bid for him, I'm sure. And I think they have, which, I don't know. Did they have a bid that was rejected? There was talk about a £70 million bid at one point, but this was over a year ago. I think that Cucurella is absolutely great. He's brilliant. And that's all I have to say about him. He's great. I love watching him. I love everything about him. And it's the same for this player in Moises Caicedo. I think that what he does, there is no reason not to compare him to Kante. The way he wins back the ball, the way he challenges for 50-50, he gets stuck in. He plays for the team, not himself. These are all things that Kante did. Now, I would argue that Caicedo has better passing range, probably a better shot on him as well. Although we know Kante likes to score a few goals. Both very athletic. But I think Kante, the fine difference between the two players is Kante is better when he just had to sit and hold. Whereas Caicedo likes to move up a little bit more. And that's why it's nice having him alongside Lavia. Because Lavia allows him to have that freedom to almost be an 8 at times. Whereas Enzo Fernandez, he has to pull himself back ever so slightly. Moises is that guy, absolutely. Could not agree more with you, Papa Brej. But yeah, he is fantastic. He's growing into the player that we paid for. Nobody's questioning his price tag. And I think there's good reason for that. And when people aren't questioning £100 million price tag, we got almost 60 million with Cucurella. Maybe a lot of the investments we made weren't so bad after all. I mean, one other player that I've absolutely loved since he's been playing is Romeo Lavia. I actually think this was his worst game in a Chelsea shirt. I don't think that Lavia had a good game. He gave the ball away for the goal that Arsenal scored. And I just don't think that he looked very sharp. He didn't look, I don't know. whatever it is that Lavia does best, he didn't do it. But not to say that he had a terrible game, but he set a standard for himself, and I'm just holding him to that standard. I think it's a bit like Palmer, isn't it? People are going, what's going on with Palmer? He's not scoring. He's not. Yeah, it's a bit like that with Lavia at the moment. He's not controlling the midfield as much as I would have liked him to. But Caicedo was fantastic. So, you couldn't look at Lavia and go, he was crap, but he wasn't as good as he normally is. We've got 77 of you on YouTube, 250 on X. Smash the like button, guys. How many likes are we on YouTube, guys? Can we get up to 60 likes on YouTube? Can we get up to 60 likes? Smash the like button, guys. Go on, let's get it on screen. Smash the like button, people. Let's have it. Let's have it. Lavia is a baller. But by his standards, it wasn't a great game. And it was the right decision to bring Enzo Fernandez on. He got the assist for Neto. I actually think that those tweaks, every substitution that Maresca made was the right substitution. It was just the timing of the Nkunku substitution. That's what bothered me. I didn't have a problem with not starting Reece James in this game. I didn't have a problem with that. I didn't think that it was the wrong decision to take off Madueke. I thought Enzo Fernandez for Lavia was the like-for-like change. It certainly made an impact. We scored straight away after he did it. And Mudryk, people go, oh, this guy's a little bit too tentative. We want to see him get stuck in. We did score as soon as he came on. So I don't know. Maybe that was, well, of course, you're going to give credit to Neto and Enzo Fernandez because they're the ones who were seriously involved. But, substitutions sometimes make an impact without necessarily touching the ball. And, it could just be a player thinking about a run that Mudryk is going to make or whatever it is. But yeah, I think Mudryk can certainly do better. He's not a player who comes on and scores. He's a player who comes on and creates. And I think we need to accept that Mudryk is not that he's not that Hazard player who's going to come on and carry the team. He will create chances for others. And then it's up to them to take their chances. Although I do think that, he didn't really do an awful lot when he came on. But I wouldn't say the same for Enzo. I think Enzo clearly made an impact. And Neto was brilliant as well. But yeah, so, that's my thoughts on the midfield. If we go further up the pitch, we'll start on the right with Madueke. For me, Madueke has absolutely my respect. I don't have a problem with Madueke. I think that Madueke is trying to adapt his game. So when people say we should sell Madueke, I think that we need to really look at this from the lens of where Chelsea have been and where we're going. And you can see proof in the pudding. Madueke, when he first come to Chelsea in that season with Lampard, when he featured in a lot of games, he was our best player. But he was our best player in poor team performances. Yeah. So the team was rubbish. Madueke would be good. For example, that, what was the score 2 years ago when we played Arsenal? Was that 3-1 to Arsenal? Something like that? Madueke scored a goal in that game. I remember that was at the Emirates. But, one thing he's improved at recently, I think his attitude has certainly improved. I think that gets milked a little bit, that one. And his defensive work rate has improved. The guy was tracking back so well yesterday. I think the problem... bless me. Wow. I think that the problem with Madueke is he's defending so much more now than he ever did. And I think it's a fitness issue. I actually think the guy's not fit enough because he tracks back and he's so tired by the time he gets back up to the other side of the pitch. He just doesn't have enough energy. He gets yellows for no reason and his decision-making has been suspect since the Wolves game. But yeah, his decision-making is very poor at times. I think it's like him and Mudryk, isn't it? That's football. That's just their football IQ. But can we not agree he's improved? Can we not agree he's improved? Look, I'm all for subbing Madueke and dropping him. I'm with you there. I would drop Madueke 100% for the next one. I'd play Mudryk or Sancho on the left, and Neto on the right. I think Neto's actually proven in the past 2 games, as soon as he's been moved over to the right, it's made a massive difference. You know, he was better on the right against United, and he scored against Arsenal. So, yeah, Neto certainly deserves more game time. I think the problem is, though, we haven't really given Mudryk that trust. I don't think Maresca trusts Mudryk, and I think it's the defensive aspect, because I don't think Mudryk would have defended like Madueke did yesterday. So there's an argument. Okay, fine, Madueke didn't perform as well on the ball, but off the ball he was decent. He was really, really decent. But I'm with you there, guys. I'm with you. The thing is, if we can get to the stage where he's tracking back and doing all this stuff and has that energy at the final third, and maybe this is just something he needs to work on individually, is being able to track back and then push forward and still have that burst, then I'm all for it. But I think the guy still deserves time. I think Madueke is proving that each season he is improving ever so slightly. That improvement might not be as big as Nicholas Jackson. It might not be like Caicedo in terms of how much they level up. But it is there. There is certainly an improvement. So I don't accept the idea of selling Noni Madueke. I don't accept that he's not been, he's not improved. I think that, like any young player, he needs to be nurtured. And maybe he needs a little bit of a break. That's fair enough. But each manager has their own way of dealing with this. And if Maresca's is playing him week in, week out, I mean, we'll certainly see how that goes. Although I would drop him. So I'm with you on that, guys. But I don't think we should sell him. I think that's harsh. Cole Palmer, not his best game. He had a great chance at the beginning. Almost scored with that long-range effort. But yeah, just not really been his best the past 2 games. I do think that I'd like to see him play more on the right. And if this means Gusto needs to stop coming up, then stop it. Gusto's a good player. He's not our best player. If a good player is impacting our best player, what the fuck is the point? Like, your job as manager is to get the best out of your team. If you've got a player who can contribute 40, 50 goals, including assists, a season, don't mess around with that. Don't do that. Play the guy in a way you're going to get the best out of him. Even Poch did it. He played him on the right and he was bloody good on the right. There's nothing wrong with it. If he still performs on the right-hand side, he clearly is good enough to be a winger. Just let him cut in. Yes, on top of the fact that maybe he could be injured as well. So, yes, if he was limping after the match, yeah. And why the hell has England called this guy up? Do you have any concern for your own players? What is the point of international breaks at this time? Is this the 3rd international break that we've had this season? Is it the 3rd one? Fucking ridiculous. It's pathetic. So many international breaks. Stupidest thing I've ever seen. And people go, oh, load management on the players. Look, why can't you play the Nations League in the summer like you do with the World Cup and the Euros? Why can't you do that? 2 weeks, done. Why do you have to spread it out over such a period? I think it's stupid. It's pathetic. But there you go. You can't have it all, can you? You can't have it all. So, who else have we got? Left-hand side. Pedro Neto. Very good. Very good from Pedro Neto. I was happy with that, man. I was very, very happy. I think that, do you know what it is with Pedro Neto? He is so versatile. Oh, let me ask you this. Could you do with Madueke what you do with Neto. Put him on the left, put him on the right, put him on the left, put him on the right. Could you do that with Mykhailo Mudryk? Play him on both sides. Could you do that with Jadon Sancho? Potentially. People have said that Sancho can play on the right. I don't think you get the same thing with those players that you get with Neto. Up the Neto. Absolutely. Big up to you, Charlie. I hope you're doing very well. Neto brings, it's a bit like Cucurella, this energy that's just contagious. You fall in love with it, don't you? You fall in love with that energy. Any player who puts his body on the line in terms of the sprints, tracking back, and then having the energy, because we criticize it with Madueke, but it's not a problem with Neto. So I think it's clearly a fitness issue or a mental issue as far as Madueke is concerned, because Pedro Neto tracks back so well and then has the energy at the top of the pitch. So if he can do it, Madueke can certainly do it. And yeah, it's a great goal from him as well. Took that in his strides. Yeah, it's just a top player. He's a guaranteed starter for Chelsea at this point. And what a great signing he's turned out to be. I don't think anyone can criticize the signing of Pedro Neto. He has been worth every penny that we've paid. And so far, he's still fit. And I hope he continues to be fit, because we know he's injury prone, especially throughout the large majority of his Wolves career. But long may this form continue. And hopefully we can keep this man involved for many, many, many more years and keep him fit throughout the process. Nicholas Jackson. He went missing again, didn't he? Let's be honest. He went missing. Yeah, wasn't a big fan of that. I think, to be honest, you could see after the first half, you said bring on Nkunku. There wasn't that support for Jackson, and that was from Palmer because of the positioning of Gusto. I just don't think that Jackson does well when Palmer plays on the other side. I think that Palmer and Jackson, they've had the best link up in the league. We've seen it. As soon as we've changed things, it's made a massive difference, hasn't it? So, yeah, a really poor game from him. I don't think that, I don't think he should start the next game, just for the reason that we've got to be fair. Why can't we just be fair? If a player has a good game and a player has a bad game, can we not play the player who just had a good game, even if it was against Noah? Nkunku does not have a choice. He's forced to play against Noah, still scores multiple goals in every game he's selected to play. I know they're not the best teams in the world. What else does the man have to do to get in this team? And I'm not just saying drop Jackson. I'm saying drop Jackson because he's had a drop in form. Is it not fair enough that if Jackson was still playing well, you can justify his starts, which is why I think he should have started against United. He didn't have a great game there. Fair enough. You all have a dip. 2 games in a row. Okay, maybe it's time to have a change. I think that that's fair enough, isn't it? So, yeah, Jackson was poor. Not impressed with Jackson whatsoever yesterday. So, yeah, that's my player-for-player ratings. I mean, I've spoken briefly about the substitutes anyway, so I don't really think I need to hone in too much. I'll just briefly go through the comments, then we're going to round it out there. Got 70 of you on YouTube, guys. Have we got up to 50 or 60 likes? I don't even know how many likes we're on. Keep you posted, guys. Big up to everyone that's been watching. How much stick did you give Havertz the swine? Listen, man, Josh, I'll tell you, he deserved every bit of stick. Every bit of stick. Shall I run back the clip? Shall I run it back? Go on then. If you really want me to, I will. To be fair, I think I've got the vlog when Havertz scored that goal. Do I have that goal? I'm sure I do. I think I do, guys. I just need to find it. Oh, God, here it is. Fuck's sake. There we go. Go on, I'll run it back because it's a beautiful moment, isn't it? Watching him score and then it get disallowed. Oh, brilliant. Hey, listen, I'm not praying. Fuck Havertz. Fuck Havertz. You don't keep praising that guy. No chance.
Fucking hell. Cucurella's had a go at Sanchez as well. Ridiculous. Fucks! Oh, Havertz. 20. Oh, mate, that is rubbish. Rubbish. Unbearable. These fucking fans. Unbearable. Can't see that. Hey, in life, everything happens for a reason. And maybe the reason that Kai Havertz scored today was just so the goal could be disallowed. I didn't see him vote for anything. Maybe this is the reason that he scored. Just so it could be taken away from him. I'll take that.
Oh, yes. Funny.
That's why he scored, so it could be taken away. Lift up the spirits. Stamford Bridge is rocking now. Go on, lads.
That was great. The reaction from the Chelsea fans as well was brilliant.
Oh, that's fucking brilliant. That is exactly, mate, it was written in the stars. It was written in the stars. Even the East is standing up. Bloody hell.
That was funny, wasn't it? Oh, it is personal. It is personal. Havertz he's a donkey, mate. No chance. But listen, what a nice way to round it out there. Watching Havertz's goal get disallowed. What a beautiful thing to see in the flesh. Absolutely brilliant. But always a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for watching, everyone on X and YouTube as well. Listen, before I round out, big shout out to Amelie, the sponsors. Guys, I'm going to be going live on Amelie later on regarding the game, talking everything Chelsea. Join me if you want to have a chat. You can just listen as well if you want. Download Amelie. There's a link in the description and a QR code on the screen. So let me know what you think about it. And listen, smash the like button as well. If you haven't already, it helps massively. Subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to seeing you later on. We will be doing the call-in show, or I might see you on Amelie. So all the best, guys, and we will catch up very, very soon.